I don't know if you've had a chance to do this, but the other day I came over early in the morning and walked around the track, and it's just such a nice track. It's going to be a great addition to Graceland University. They're going to stripe that in a couple weeks, and it'll be ready for the start of school. So we're real excited about having that track available and being able to use it. We want to really take this time to express our appreciation to Bob and Lee Ackerley. So Bob, if you and Nora, his wife Nora, would stand forward, just step forward so everybody can see you. I want to say thank you to them. I'd also like to say that this track will have a big influence in our ability to recruit students to the program, and so it's going to be such a nice addition. You can tell by the surface, the new curbs, concrete curbs, the fence. It's just really a top-class track, and that's going to really be nice. I have two grandsons in local high school that run track, and one of the things that I notice is that the conference comes in and they have their meets here. And so we will have a lot of young people using the track, and it's just a great addition for Graceland University. Then having said that, we've asked Joe Worlund, the athletic director, to come forward and just talk about the track and what it means to him and to the program. Joe.
Well, welcome everybody. It's one of those things when you do this, or at least when I was thinking, I wasn't sure how many people would show up, so this is awesome. We certainly are proud of the facility, and it's one of those things we're really excited about moving forward. When I came in a couple years ago, one of the things that was a top priority for me was the facilities and making progress in facilities. And as you know, we need to work on Clausen, and we need to work on some other projects. The football turf is about due to come up to be replaced, but the track was one of the things that was really on the top of the list to get done. So we appreciate the Ackerley stepping forward and making that all possible. From a recruiting standpoint, it's amazing. Reece is going to talk a few minutes about the impact on the track program specifically, but you realize all athletes will have access to the track, and it'll get used by all kinds of different athletes. And even in the tour process of recruiting current athletes for this class, they walk by the track and talk about the new track whenever they're talking to basketball players or football players or everybody. So everybody, all the student athletes will benefit from the new track. One of the things most of you, I'm sure, have not had the opportunity to see a track put in. It was an amazingly fascinating, process. It's way labor intense. They actually melted rubber right here. They'd put it in a 55-gallon tub and haul it around the track. They'd hand pour it out on the track. They squeegee it to a level, and then they take a shovel and throw the rubber on top to dig in. And it was those couple weeks ago where there were days where it was pushing 100 degrees multiple days in a row. So it was really a fascinating process to watch it occur. And I'm equally intrigued by the lining process. If anybody's ever tried to line an athletic field, if you make a little bloop in the line, it looks really crooked. Well, I don't know that I've ever seen a crooked line on a track, because I imagine if you were off by an inch on the track, it looked like it was about a foot off. So I'm really intrigued to see that happen when we schedule the track to come in. I've got an interesting story. So as most of you know, we had spec last week, and so they finished the track. Well, they finished this part of the track on Tuesday afternoon. So they allowed us to be on the track that had been completed earlier in the week. So we used the straightaways. So we ran 100s and 200s were the only races we ran. Well, the first race ever run on the track was run by the spec girls 100-yard race. And in that race, there was a blind girl that ran with an assisted runner. And the stands were packed. There was a soccer game going on in the middle. And the crowd was cheering as loud as you could ever imagine for the first race on the track for a bunch of people not running very fast in tennis shoes. So, but the blind girl ran with the assisted runner, and I think her time, if I'm not correct, was about 24 seconds, which is not fast. But it's one of those things that was perfect for the first race on the track. I will remember that forever. It's one of those things as a first race on a track I will just totally remember. I think there are a lot of great things to come, with the track. And Reece is going to talk about some of the impact on that. Again, the generosity on behalf of the users, I just want to thank the Ackerleys again, the varsity athletes, the track team, the staff, the students, the Lamoni community, everybody will benefit from this new track. So again, thank you very much.
Thanks everybody for coming out. Obviously, being the track coach, I'm incredibly happy to see what is happening here. Just to have a revamped, brand new facility coming in, it's for track and field. Obviously, we're going to get a lot of benefits from it. The first is recruiting, definitely. When I came in about 3 years now, my first year here, our track roster was at like about 30, and that's about men and women. And going into this year, even just talking about the track and what we're going to have, we have the biggest roster that track has ever had. Right now, I think going into this year, we're going to be at like upper 80s right now. So it's pretty impressive. It's the biggest recruiting class that we've ever had this year. So what impact the track has already done, and we haven't even really ran a big conference or track and field, race on it yet. So we're really excited about that. On top of all this, it's gonna help us as a track team kind of go to the next level. Last year, our track team was ranked, both the men and women were ranked in the top 25 of the nation, and I think just having this is going to push us higher and farther than we've ever basically gone before. So we're incredibly excited. We can't thank the Ackerleys enough for what you guys have done for us. I know in the future this is going to help the track and Graceland and everybody that is part of this. So thank you very much.
I'd like to talk just a bit about opportunity. For a school our size and a community our size, to have a first-rate facility like this is an opportunity that I don't think any other town our size in the state of Iowa has. And it is amazing. It is truly amazing. And we take advantage of that K-12, from our elementary track meet to our high school PE classes that might use it to time kids in the mile, which they might not necessarily like to do, but they do anyway. To our middle school and high school track teams that not only practice out here, but because of the generosity and willingness of Graceland to work with us, get to have meets out here. But even more than what it does for our school and our community, which I've seen numerous individuals walking out here with the Fitbit, getting their steps, using it as rehab. I used it numerous times when I had my hip replaced. But even more than that, the impact goes beyond. And as President Sellars said, we have our conference track meet here. And every year, 14 different schools about the size of Lamoni have the opportunity to send their female and male track teams here to an outstanding facility to participate in our conference meet. And it's more than just the opportunity, it's the exposure. It's exposure of these kids to a university setting. And for freshmen and sophomore, that might be the first time for some of them in these small towns to have that opportunity. And that might plant a seed. And if that seed grows to the point that they feel like something that was not attainable, which might be attending a college or university, is attainable, then that's even more powerful. And for that, and for just what the opportunity it gives our students, our community, and communities around this area, I would like to give a heartfelt thank you. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure at this time to invite Bob and Norv come forward to have a response. Nor, you're sure welcome to come. We won't ask you to sing or anything.
Thank you all for coming out here today. This track facility is named for my dad, Leland Ackerley, and my dad was born up the road in Osceola, Iowa. And his father, my grandfather, was from Leon, Iowa, was born and raised there. And his mother, who was my great-grandmother, was born right here in Lamoni, Iowa, and lived her life here. And her mother's a very special person. Her mother was Marietta Walker, who originally gave 20 acres to start this wonderful university here on this beautiful hill that she loves so much in her lifetime here in Iowa. So the family goes back quite a few years. In the mid-90s, I had a great aunt, my grandfather's sister, was Dr. Lois Ackerley. She was born in Leon. She was one of the first women in Iowa to get a PhD. She got a PhD in 1925 from the University of Iowa, and then went to Alabama and spent her life teaching. But when she passed away, she wanted to come back and be buried here in Lamoni, out in Roseville Ceremony. At that time in the mid-90s, my father traveled here to see that she was buried with her family, with all the Walkers and the Ackerleys. At that time, there was a gentleman from Graceland that made very nice arrangements for the funeral, a fellow by the name of Don Kearns. And he really helped my dad set everything up and make sure that it was a very nice ceremony. And Don traveled to New York to visit my dad and to tell him about Graceland, because the family had kind of become a little bit separated from Graceland over the years. And my dad was an engineer, and this is a kind of funny story. He didn't really understand everything that Don did. Don said he was a development officer. And when my dad figured out what development officers did, he said, "Well, why are you talking to me? You need to go down to Texas and talk to my two sons." So Don came down to Houston, and my brother and I were young guys. We had started a business. We were building a business in Houston. This guy would come knocking on the door, and he said, "I'm from Graceland University. And by the way, your family has this whole long history here with Graceland." And he made a couple of trips down there and efforts, and he was just such a great guy, and it was so wonderful to connect with Don. And my brother and I said, "Well, tell us a little bit about the university and what we could do to help out." And Don started talking about these wonderful, the Graceland relays that they used to have here on the track, and how the track had kind of, over the years, had just kind of worn out and everything. And so my brother and I thought it'd be a great way to honor my dad, who passed away, by redoing the track. And that was in 1999, so that was 17 years ago that we first redid the track here. And it's just been, we thought it would be such a wonderful thing if the whole community could use it. If the high school kids and the community, the older people like us, could come out here and walk on the track, and who knows, maybe the next Bruce Jenner would have a chance to find his talent out here on a world-class track. And over those 17 years, we wore a track out. We wore one out, and it was time to get it back in shape again. And so Kelly came and talked to us, and we were more than happy to do what we've done here and get this track ready to go. So we hope this track gets as much use as the last one did, and we hope that a lot of people will not only get great exercise, but that the whole community will come out here and have a place to meet each other and find good health and just enjoy life in this beautiful place. So thank you all so much, and we're very happy to be part of the Graceland community.
She's the one, through her vision, that challenged the church to move forward, and how important higher education would be in the church. And so she's really the mother and the founder of Graceland. What a great honor that is. Thank you. We'll put you right up here. Great. Now who's going to cut it? Oh, you got to cut it. Real scissors.
Well, it's good to see a few young athletes out here. I think I see a lot more old athletes out here than I do young. Perhaps we should give a challenge to some of the old athletes. Joe's mentioning a 24-second record here. Maybe we should get some of us that anybody over 60, we can get out there and see if we can do a 100-yard dash. No heart attacks or anything, before we make the run. But truly, this is a great event for for Graceland, and we do want to thank Bob and Lee and Nora for making this happen. The deep respect that I've personally gained for Bob over recent years, since I've got to know him on the board, is very multifaceted. It goes way beyond and doesn't even start with some of the things that he's helped us out with financially as a university. It really goes to what he's contributed in a much broader and deeper way to the university. He is one of these people that we're trying to work with in terms of our students, so that when our students leave here, they are really critical thinkers, broad-based thinkers, and citizens of the world. And Bob is one of these individuals. And his abilities to ask the right questions in the board, his ability to think strategically and cut to the heart of the matter when we're trying to deliberate and make tough decisions, his ability to bring us together with the way that he talks about issues and the way he talks about the world in which we live in and the challenges we face has been a tremendous contribution to the board. And so, Bob, we don't just thank you for today and this. We thank you for you and who you are and how you've been part of our community. Thank you.
A lot better than the cinder track I ran on back in the 60s.
Oh, well, then you didn't run around.
I guess it's all level.
You went to run.